Welcome to Keiser Voices, the story of success, brought to you by Keiser University Graduate School, here where the academic world meets personal triumph. Join us today as we dive into the captivating tales of success.
Hello, welcome to Keiser Voices podcast. We're glad you're here with us today for another inspiring conversation. Our guest is someone with a wealth of experience in leadership and coaching. We're excited to have Mr. Bob Fashano, a seasoned executive coach and leadership expert. Mr. Bob's journey started in sales and sales management with a major financial services company. And in 1978, he took the leap to start his own company. Over the years, his business has grown to serve tens of thousands of clients with a large team. Mr. Fashano has held important leadership roles in his industry, including serving as president of Inseca International and chairman of the Guardian Field Advisory Board. He was recently honored by being inducted into the Guardian Hall of Fame. Today, Mr. Bob Fashano leads Lead One Consultant, where he helps leaders and executives develop through coaching and leadership training. He's also an international speaker, author, and part of the John Maxwell Company Executive Circle. Outside of work, Mr. Fashano is active in community organizations in both New York and Florida, and he's proud to serve on Keiser University flagship campus advisory board. We are really looking forward to hearing from Ms. Fashano today. Welcome.
Thank you, Adriana. I'm really looking forward to spending some time with you and the audience today. Thank you for this opportunity.
Let's start by talking about your leadership journey. How has your view of leadership changed from when you first started your career to now?
Wow. It has changed. It has changed immensely. You know, when I got out of school and was in the workplace, my first job was in sales. And I had at that time, the term management and leadership are often now used interchangeably, but at that time, leadership wasn't really at its forefront so much. It was more management. And I had a manager. And it was he had what I refer to as a positional manager. In other words, he was the boss, he was the manager. He let you know he was the boss and the manager. And we all had to be in our place and do our thing. And as long as we got results, we earned the acceptance of him. And so that was my first exposure to what it means to be a manager, be a leader, and have direct reports and people work with you and so on. Over time, I learned a different way to lead people. I learned along the way that, first of all, I did not want to be that type of a manager. I learned that it's the people in our business, and it really, Adriana, it really doesn't matter what business you're in. We're really in the people business. Whether you're in education, whether you're in government, whether you're in business, whether you're a professional practice, we are in a people business, and it's the people that help the business prosper and grow and become successful. So I learned that along the way, and as a result of that, my leadership evolved into investing my time in our people, making it intentional about adding value to our people, and they will grow the business. Not me, but the people will grow the business. So my role as a leader was to provide resources, to provide the coaching, the mentoring, from which I believe we're going to talk about in a little bit, but to do those things necessary so that those individuals would grow. And it really kind of worked out. So my journey changed and evolved over the years from managing to leading. And I'm not suggesting one is superior than the other, They're two different roles. I believe a manager manages systems and processes, and a leader leads people. And so it has evolved. And I hope that answers your question, and that the audience will have an idea in terms of what my view of leadership is today and how it's evolved over a long period of time, I might add.
Wow, that's amazing, Mr. Fashano. And in your experience, what makes a mentor truly impactful?
What makes a mentor truly impactful? Well, first of all, I love the word impact, because most leaders, because of their responsibilities, have to stand in front of a room, make speeches, make presentations, cast out a vision, chart the course. All of that is important. But I don't believe that's where impact comes in. Impact takes place when that leader pours themselves into the other person and is intentional about adding value. Impact is face to face, eyeball to eyeball, one on one with that individual. You lead them one at a time. And so that's what I see in answer to your question about a leader has to have a mindset as they enter that relationship, as they enter the mentoring relationship. The leader has to have a mindset that this is all about the other person. It's all about supporting that other person, making a difference in their lives, adding value to them, providing the guidance that might need, help them navigate through the challenges that they have, share wisdom and your expertise. That's where the impact comes in.
When you talk about mindset, I'm curious, what's one daily habit or mindset that has helped you grow the most as a leader?
I would say from a mindset point of view, as a daily habit, that's evolved, by the way, over the years. I might add it wasn't that way originally. When you first begin a business, you're really in survival mode. So you have to do whatever it is that you need to do. But over time, I learned that I need to form the habit of being intentional about developing people and connecting with people on a regular basis, a daily basis. And that gets more difficult as your business, as your responsibilities grow, and you have more time restraints, more pressures on your time. So the habit formed has to be more of I'm going to be intentional today about making a difference in someone's life. And by the way, there's opportunities, because every day we have appointments, we have meetings, we have opportunities to be with people. And we have to be careful as leaders, especially as you get busier, to do what I call check the box leadership, meaning, oh, I have a meeting today with Adriana, so okay, it'll be just a quickie. I'll just check it off. How you might be able to serve her that day. What challenges is Adriana having that day? What resources that I might be able to have that I could bring to her to help support her efforts? I think that's a daily mindset, and that's a learned. And by the way, you mentioned growth in your question, I believe. That's where growth seems to take place with the leader. The more opportunities that you capture, the more you do that, the more that you sit with an Adriana, and you will learn how to be more of an effective leader. Leadership is learned daily. It's not learned overnight. It takes practice and practice and practices, and a mindset of intentionality.
Wow, Mr. Fashano, your experience truly adds value to our podcast and to our conversation. And That's why I wanted to ask you if you can share a moment when mentorship made a real difference in someone's journey or your own.
Mentorship's made a difference. Well, obviously, because of my age and my experience and number of years in the business, I've had plenty of opportunities to mentor others. And I'm not the one to judge how successful that was. That would not be for me to judge. That would be for someone else to judge that. But I will share with you and the audience a personal experience that I had very early on in my career. I was struggling when I first got my first position to be a sales manager. I was a young person, I wasn't even 30 years old, and I was asked to recruit and train some salespeople, and I was struggling terribly. And there was a gentleman who I knew, his son and I played high school baseball together. And he was a very successful district manager with a competing company. So he was competition. And he knew I was in the business. And I saw him one day and he asked me how I was doing. I was a little embarrassed to tell him that I was struggling, but I was struggling. I had a young family at the time. And I was truthful with him. I had to eat a little humble pie. And he said, Bob, if I can help you in any way, just let me know. And I thought, gee, that was interesting at the time. Well, let me fast forward. For about 6 months, he lived not too far from where I lived. And well, not every evening, but I'll bet 3 or 4 nights a week, I would be on his front porch. We would be having a beverage together, and he poured himself into me. Well, I'm feeling myself emotional, and that happened so long ago. But it had such a profound impact on me because he gained nothing by sharing his guidance and his wisdom with me. Nothing. In fact, I was the competition. But yet he invested time with me. And there were times where I would come home at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And by the way, the beverage we had was some iced tea. I'm not saying I didn't have a beer, but we weren't drinking. We were in business. And he was coaching me and mentoring me and helping me navigate through some of the challenges I was having. And it was all about developing people and listening to them and investing time in them. And that's where my leadership kind of evolved and changed. And it was because of that mentorship. And so, am I a believer in mentorship? You betcha. Which is one of the reasons why I was instrumental in starting the Amplify program at Keiser, which we're going to talk about, I think, in a little bit. But that motivated me that there was an opportunity here to mentor graduate students with business leaders. I had that experience when I was very, very young in the business. And so that's my personal experience with mentoring and what it's meant to me.
And we're excited to talk about the Amplify programs and flagship campus. So, yeah, we're going to talk about it in a little bit. What advice will you give to someone who's just stepping into a leadership or mentorship role for the first time?
Yeah, I guess the advice that I would give someone stepping into a leadership or a mentorship role for the first time is to remember that it is not about you. It is not about you, the leader. It is about the other person where you have an opportunity to make a difference in that person's life. And quite frankly, Adrienne, I don't think there's anything more gratifying, more fulfilling than knowing that you've played a very small role in helping someone else become all they can be, guiding them and helping them. I don't think there's anything more satisfying that someone could do. And so I would remind that first-time leader, that first-time mentor to accept the opportunity that's given you to make a difference in someone else's life. It's not about your title, it's not about your position, and it's not about you. I would encourage them to enter that role with that mindset.
Can you talk about what is the Amplify program and why do you believe programs like this are important for developing future leaders?
Well, I certainly am honored to talk about the Amplify program. I'm very, very excited about it because we have finished 2 years with the Amplify program. But let me explain to your audience what is the Amplify program.
Yes, please.
That was your question. Well, let's go back to the purpose of it. The original concept was we wanted to bring business and community leaders into Keiser University and connect with graduate students into a mentoring role. There was an opportunity for business leaders to come in, meet graduate students, invest time with them, and mentor them. That was our objective. And so what we've done, we had a process for that. We had an application process for the graduate students. We had a process for the mentors. They were both mentees and mentors were vetted to where we were able to put the groups together, and the committee, which consisted of some deans, a couple of professors, and myself. And we put together both the mentors and the mentees and what we thought might be the best marriage, might be the best partnership, the best we could do. And I'm delighted to report that after 2 years, we're about to start Amplify 3.0 in the fall. So we're right in the middle of organizing that right now. But I'm very happy to report that we've had 18 graduate students go through the program. I believe my numbers are correct. I think 8 of them have landed jobs as a result of the Amplify program. Now, let me share with you, Adriana, and the audience what our format is. Each month, the groups come together, the mentors and the mentees come together, and we come to the flagship campus. And the commitment is an hour and a half a month. And there are things that they learn that are very relative to or relevant to where that graduate student is in their life. Things like how to prepare a proper resume, how to sit through a job interview, how to learn how social media and then can help you improve and enhance your network, because you're going to have to enhance your network. What is networking? How do we do that? So we brought in guest speakers for them. We developed business content for them during this hour and a half period. Now, in the ensuing months, the mentor and the mentee got together. And depending upon the specifics of where the graduate student was at the time, and in some cases, the mentor just introduced them to their particular business, or in some cases, the mentor introduced them to their network, which is how some were able to get new positions and get jobs. And the other thing I forgot to mention, when we bring them together, this monthly meeting at the campus, they share the experiences that they're going through, that they're having. We allow them each to get up in front of the room and share what they've been going through, what it means to be mentored by the mentor, and the mentee, and the mentor shares what it means. The mentors are growing a lot also in this. So it's been a tremendous experience. In fact, it's really been beyond our expectations. It's like a lot of things when you have a new project or a new initiative, you have high expectations, as you should, but you're not 100% sure what the outcome is going to be. Well, in reflecting back on these last 2 years, I will have to tell you and the audience, it was beyond our expectations. And a lot of that is because the mentors really embraced this opportunity to pour into these young people. And the mentees equally embraced the opportunity to learn from their mentor. And of course, one of the byproducts that comes from this kind of mentoring and mentor relationship is a relationship. It's a relationship now where they have formed a bond, where even though the graduate student is now out into the marketplace and into the workplace, there's still a bond with that mentor that helped them evolve and grow and get to that next level. It's just very, very exciting to sit back and watch this happen. So that's what our program is about. And we're so excited to continue this in the third year. And I just hope that someone's in the audience might raise their hand and think, hey, I need to know more about this. I would like to be mentored. If students are watching, the graduate students are watching this, and I think we might be going to undergraduate students here soon. I'm not sure. We're going to be talking about that with our committee, but does that help you have a better understanding of what the program is?
Yes, totally. And at Kaiser, leadership development is a key focus through programs like Amplify. And thank you so much for mentoring these students. What sets a program like Amplify apart from real world learning alone?
Well, I think we've experienced there is something about community here, the concept of community, bringing the graduate students and the mentors together once a month. That is special. Being part of something bigger, being part of a community where there's some shared experiences and we're going through a shared process together and learning together. That's kind of an intangible benefit that you don't see until it's really in place, until you really look back on that and say, hey, wow, look at what happened there. That's more than just a learning experience. It actually goes to another level where there's bonding, where there's some shared experiences, as I've talked about. I hopefully that answers your question. It's a good question because there certainly there is the learning, and then there's the application, and then there's the discussing and the reviewing and sharing the experiences that are all part of that.
Um, yes, and for those listening who might be interested in developing their leadership skills, how can they get involved or learn more about the Amplify program?
Well, I would inform them to meet with their advisor or one of the professors and contact folks. I would start with contacting Dr. Deborah Johnston, who's the new dean of academics at the flagship campus. She is the chair of our Amplify committee. That would be a place to start. The application process is going to start in August, which is coming up next month. So there'll be opportunities for them to apply. I might point out that each student must have a sponsor. So an advisor or a faculty professor, I would ask them to seek Dr. Johnston out and go from there and let them know that there's interest, because that's we're welcoming, and we like to have, by the way, I think this year our objective is we'd like to bring 10 to 12 graduate students through the program. So to have 10 or 12, we need to have some applications. We need to have maybe 20 or 30 or 40 applications for us to vet and look at. And again, we're very careful, Adriana, because we want to be sure that the graduate student understands their expectations. This is work on their part as well during the school year. They have to have a commitment to be mentored, to want to be mentored. But I think that's what's the minimum requirement for an investment of time. And what we found is when students got involved in this program initially, one of the objections that I could think of a couple of them that had early on, gee, where am I going to get the time for this? Because they're busy. But once they put their foot in the water, so to speak, once they tried it and saw the benefits of spending time with a real life professional business person that is very active and has a business or a profession going. And by the way, we have such a diversity of mentors from all walks. We have people, physicians, people from sports, people from business, people from media, all different types of mentors. So it's quite a diverse group that we've been able to attract and bring in as mentors. And we're hopefully going to continue to do that so that the graduate students really have an opportunity to learn.
Thank you, Mr. Bob Fashano, for sharing your valuable insights on leadership and the role of mentorship. It's clear that Amplify program is not just about learning skills. It's about connecting with different kind of mentors, as you mentioned, who guide, challenge, and support students in unique ways. Mentorship is a powerful tool that shapes leaders by offering diverse perspectives and experiences, as you mentioned in our podcast. To our listeners, if you're ready to take your leadership journey further, consider how mentorship and programs like Amplify can open new doors for your growth. And yeah, Mr. Bob Fashano, thank you so much. And thanks for joining us at the Keiser Voices podcast. I hope you can join us for future episodes and talk more about your leadership skills and how your influence has had a great impact.
Well, thank you so much, Adriana. It has been my honor and pleasure to share this with you folks, and hopefully there would be an opportunity as we move forward. But hopefully we've added some value to you and to the student and to the audience today. That was my intention all along, is to share this with you folks. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast on YouTube. And until next time.
Thank you for journeying with us today on Keiser Voices, the story of success. As we close this chapter, remember every story has its next page.